Hi guys, so I'm just showing you my braid pattern here. What I'm showing you now is my leave out. I didn't really leave out a lot of my edges, and I did an L shape for the leave out shape. I have 5 braids for the front bang swoop, and I just basically did a straight back cornrows and connected each of them so there will be no humps. I had 2 braids left out, so I just sewed them down to a braid going along the pattern so that it's flat as possible. I'm using my 18-inch AliExpress hair first because you want the longest hair to be on the ends. I have my needle and thread and tied a knot so that the weft can have something to hold on to. So when you start off each weft, you want to poke a hole at the very beginning, making sure it's not too close to the tip because it might rip. And I'm just going to place my first track here so I won't have to cut as much as my 18-inch before I get to my bang. And I just put the needle through the middle of the braid. It doesn't really matter. And the way I knot as I go through my sew in, I loop it twice over the needle and pull it through, and that will automatically give you a knot of its own, and it will keep your track in place and make sure that it is secure. So I'm just showing you what I do. I loop the needle underneath each braid or through the middle, whichever you decide. And I'm just going to do this throughout and not whenever I need to. So most of the video is sped up because it is repetitive and it's basically the same thing over and over. I just want you guys to have a view of what's going on so that you're not lost and you know what I'm doing step by step. So when I do my first track, I'm sticking the track underneath the braid, or at least trying to, so that it will give you a versatile sewing effect where you can lift your ponytail, your sew-in into a ponytail if you wanted to. But I did not leave any hair out in the back and on the sides. I only left my edges and leave out. So I can have this option if I had a headband or whatever the case may be, but it's not mandatory if you are not leaving any hair out. So at the tips of my braids where it comes to flipping, you want to make sure that you knot it just so that before you attempt to do a flip, your track is secure. And that's just what I'm doing here. Once I flip the track, I put the needle through the weft and I knot just so that I have a secure flat flip, because you don't want this to stick out because it will be bulky and it will be noticeable. So after you make your flip, you do as many knots as you feel you need to make it secure as possible, and you just continue your regular sewing process. When you see that your thread is coming to an end, you want to have about 3 inches left before you decide to cut it so that you will have enough to double knot. And I'm just tying here, and this is how I end every thread that is coming to an end and snip as close to the knot as possible. So I fully finished my 18-inch and it comes about halfway through. Of course, I could have squeezed it in a little tighter, but it doesn't really matter. I have more than enough hair to go around. So I'm doing the first track of my bang with my 16-inch and closing in any gaps that I have from my 18-inch as I continue to go on. So I finished all of my 16-inch, and this is all that I have left. And I'm going to do my 14-inch for this section. I'm putting the needle through the beginning of the bang, and I knot as soon as I put it in, and I just continue the regular looping process. And you want to make sure when you get to your last track before your leave out, you want to put the track over the braid because you don't want your braid to show. And I'm just going to do this throughout until I'm finished. So I believe that it's best to do two tracks on the last braid that you have, because you want a braid to be in the middle and one braid over, so that you have the complete fullness that you want and there are no gaps left before you take out your leave out. And this might prevent you from having to glue in a track. It all depends on how close you braided the braid to your leave out. So I just unraveled the braids for my leave out, and I'm going to style in my next video, so stay tuned. Bye.